council meeting, January 14th, 2020, 7 p.m. If you would stand, and I'm going to ask John to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll ask Matt to lead us in prayer.
Father, we pause before you today and we thank you for your goodness and thank you for who you are. We ask that you be with us tonight during this meeting and allow us to make the best decisions for the citizens and the city of Louisa. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right, I do have some announcements, updates, and comments, some things that carried over from the utility board last week. Update on our water project that was over in Boone, Rice, and all that. It's 6 members of that in the town has been completed, even down to the last. They did like one pressure reducing valve over there that they just did last week. After we got that completed, they're doing a audit per se of the money of the project. It's hard to a project to match to the penny how much money you have available. So they're doing that final little audit. We think there's going to be about $5,000 or $6,000 left, and the utility board agreed with Martin and the contractors that a good place to put that last little bit of money would be to put insertion valve on this end of town, so that when we do the sewer project, we'll have more control of shutting water down on an individual street. We'll be able to shut off just Lock Avenue, whereas right now it's almost impossible to do that. So it would isolate that area better, so that when we do the sewer project, we'd have more control. So that's just kind of an update on that. The water project, I feel like went exceptionally well. There was very little hiccups, really. It's really my first, if you can believe it, it's my first project that I started from A to Z. Every other project I've been involved with here in my term has been something that was already in the mill, already underway, and I got in the middle of it. And so this was one of my first that I went to Frankfurt with the idea, said we needed to do it, applied for the money, went through all that process, got the money, hired the engineering, the whole shebang we've done here as utility board. And so I'm pleased with the way it turned out. I feel good about it, and we end up with a lot of streets after the project was over, if you've been over there and noticed that. Streets that needed done anyway. The sewer project, as most of you know, because I updated you last month, that we had bid on the project, and based upon the estimates of the engineer's estimates, all 5 bids come in over bid pretty high. So we made some minor adjustments, advertised and rebid again, which takes about 30 to 60 days. We rebid the second time. We went from 5 bidders down to 1, and that bid was still about $500,000 over the original estimate. Our funding from KIA had been based on that original estimate, so we were short about $500,000. So last week I presented it to the board, KIA board in Frankfurt, and they voted on it right there, approved us for the increase in funding. So to be plain about that, that increase would not be debt forgiveness. It will be on the loan side. Because the other had some forgiveness that's free money. So this part, it wouldn't be free money. Still extremely low percent interest. And they weren't a bit surprised when I come and said all of our bids come in too high. They said they're getting it all across the state because of the supply and demand, the amount of work that's out there. Contractors can just about name the price right now. So this project is extremely intense. It's one I've been, utility board and I are excited to do, but I dread too, because it's going to be major disruption of traffic flow, streets, sidewalks, sewers. I mean, you just name it. If it could involve it, it does in this project. So I know before we go into it, it's gonna be a painstaking year of dealing with it. I know when we get done, we're gonna have new storm drains, and Lock Avenue's not gonna flood like it has for 25 years. We're gonna have storm drains going to the river instead of going to our sewer plant, which has taxed our plant for 25 years. We're gonna have new sewer that is properly draining, not with low spots in it like it is right now. And then we're gonna have a new road that's gonna be built back as good as the interstate because of the state specs they're making us build. And we're gonna have new curb and gutter. If you notice, the curbs on Lock Avenue's been bad for years. A lot of driveways down Lock Avenue and alleys are bad, the entrances and exits, and those can be repaired during this project. So the outcome's gonna be great. The duration of it is gonna be painstaking, I know. We're gonna have to knock on the door and say, we're unhooking your sewer. I mean, it's gonna be a painstaking job. And we have the housing, development down there that's involved in it, so it's gonna be a big project. Bear with us, and we will update you next month on that. But last month I had you all go ahead and award that contract, if you remember, to Frederick and May. They was the lowest bidder 2 times. And we did that contingent upon me getting the extra financing. So I just wanted you to know, and it to be in the minutes, that we did get the extra financing. So the vote you all did award them the contract should be as good as Bud says. We just recorded the minutes and we're ready to go now. Talked to the engineers today and they're chomping at the bit to get started. So look forward to that. Another project that's come to an end is the new signs. If you notice, the signs at the entrance of town up here we call bypass. The other 2 we just chose to keep in the locations they had already been in. One at the Falls Creek exit down there on 23, and then there was one already out there that was at the car wash, and we just chose to reuse the bases and just put the signs on the top. If you remember, that was kind of our last, maybe last, dibble of coal severance money, and we used that money to do that project with. We should have, as soon as Kathy gets the canceled check back, and we send that in, we'll get reimbursed for it. And we still should have about $6,000 or so left of that coal money. Can't just spend it on anything, but what I feel like, and I think you all will agree with me, it had to, when I applied for it, or tell them what you're going to do with it, and they approved it, it was signs and beautification of Main Street in Louisa. That's what it said. Since then, Rotary has contacted me and wanted, if you remember a year ago, we applied for a grant in conjunction with Rotary to replace the trees on Main Cross Street. We got rid of those big trees and put in little ones. And so Rotary said if we would agree to put new street signs on Madison Street and Main Cross Street, the ones that says Madison and Lock Avenue, Madison and Lady Washington Street, they're just not the prettiest things in the world. I mean, they're the green ones and the poles not. Some of the poles are round and not too bad, and then some of them are those T-posts that look awful. And so Rotary, I told them we would never turn down money. I knew that. So they went ahead and I told them to apply, let me know if they got it. They did get it. So it's about $2,700 of money I can get from Rotary. And I feel like the easiest thing to tell the state that we're going to do with the rest of that money is more signs, because that's what they already approved. So if you all agree with that, I would like to come down Madison Street and I can show you pictures of them. The signs that Rotary and I looked at are really gorgeous. They're historical looking, and say Madison Street. And the stop signs will be on them. I've already talked to the state because a lot of those signs are on state right of way. So I've got to get permits and got to do it their way. So some of them has to be breakaway and different things like that. Is everybody cool with that? Just moving with that. Like it. It'd be easier spending for that than trying to get them to change. All right. That's all I have for old business and projects, or for projects. Old business that came before us last time, have a motion, we approve the minutes for December 10th, 2019 meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Nolan,
A second.
second by Mr. Brown. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, number 5 on the agenda, approve the second reading ordinance 2019-08, an ordinance granting Kentucky Power Company a 10-year franchise to do business in the city and put their lines and poles through, across, and over streets and right-of-ways. We discussed that pretty in-depth last month. I'm satisfied with the new compensation that we're getting. I feel like it's more fair than it had been in the past. Do I have a motion we entertain the second reading?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. By Mr. Brown. Second by Mr. Forgot his name already. Robertson.
I was just kidding you, Gary.
All in favor? Any questions or concerns? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Well, call roll.
Robertson,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Schaefer. Yes. Nolan.
Yes.
Thank you.
Kathy, when you send that up, share it so we can get in the paper, you know, be sure, and I think there's an exhibit to that.
There is an attachment,
Yeah,
yes.
just make sure that that's included.
Okay.
That's part of the order.
All right, item number 6, the never-ending saga, foothills. Bud, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm a little confused still, but I think we're good. You know, they came here and wanted a new franchise, and I was telling Bud tonight, it kind of reveals why, but they didn't want to use the Lycon franchise even if they bought Lycon. They wanted their own. So we went through all that to get a new platform, a new way to deliver franchises, to give them the franchise. And in our new ordinance, it says franchise can't be transferred from one to the other. The old one, it said it could. So now they come after we did it and said they want to use the old one. They want to use Lycon. And so, and it says it can be transferred. So I only had 2 little issues with it, and Bud talked to them and seemed to clear that up today.
Yeah.
One was, I thought that the old Lycon franchise said that there had to be an office in Louisa. They corrected, it says there was an office, but it didn't say it had to be in Louisa. So they kind of still fit that bill with their office in Staffordsville. And then under our new ordinance, of course, the franchise fees now, we opted out of the Kentucky Telecom tax, so the franchise fees are paid directly to us. So Lycon's old franchise said it would be paid to the Department of Revenue, and I brought that to their attention, and Bud has it in writing from them that they agreed that it would be paid to us. So barring those 2 little things, I don't know why they want to use the old one, but I don't know that it makes any difference.
Well, it probably doesn't because, you know, if they take over the Lycon one, they only get
About 3 years.
about 3 years left. In the 3 years, they're gonna have to apply for
Another.
another one.
So Bud, I guess, is that something we just need to vote on, that they're gonna transfer the Lycon franchise?
I don't
to
know if it's
Foothills?
necessary, but I guess it'd be okay just to approve the transfer.
I think what we need to do, somebody needs to make a motion that we consider the consideration of transferring Lycon's existing franchise agreement to Cellular Services of Kentucky to operate video and cable franchise in the city of Louisa for the remainder of the time and term left in the old Lycon agreement.
So are they Cellular Services of Kentucky instead of Foothills?
Yes. On paper.
Okay.
I have a motion.
I'll make a motion for that.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Brown, second by Mr. Nolan. Any discussion or questions? It's finally over. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, number 7, we had a lady, if you remember, come to us, it's been almost a year now, ain't it? Talked to us about census, the importance of us getting accurate numbers to get our population numbers recorded accurately. And Mr. Polly Barker is on this local census committee, would like to address you all.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Sloan and city council members.
Hey, look, just a second. If y'all want to leave, you're excused. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Anything come up, make it off. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor Sloan and council members. It is January 2020 and the decennial census is conducted this year. The decennial census impacts the access to funding for a variety of city and county projects such as roads, free school lunch programs, public safety, city planning, and more. A complete and accurate count of who is living within the city of Louisa and in Lawrence County is paramount to our future. It is my privilege and honor to serve as the chair of Lawrence County Census 2020. It is my privilege, as designated last year by the Honorable Judge Carter. Our small group of volunteers have been working since the summer of 2019 to share information about the importance of 2020 census and to dispel any myths and misunderstandings about the purpose and the timeline for the census. By our estimate, we have connected with more than 4,000 people. Our committee members include co-chair number 1, James Ellis, co-chair number 2, David Chico Prince, treasurer, Shauna Markham, official member, Lily Benson, official member, Sherry Tig Littleton, official member, Chris Jobe, official member, Chuck Price. Our activities have included setting up a Facebook page. Also, we set up a Facebook page Monday that we tried to raise money. Census job informational table at the Lawrence County Library, census job information table at the Lawrence County Fair, census job information table at the Lawrence County Homecoming Pep Rally, census job information table at the September Fest, and also at the Country Christmas. Presentation to the Lawrence County School Districts for teachers and staff, an informational event at the Lawrence County Senior Citizen Center, which we just had, Halloween events at the public schools, and we give away over 2,000 armbands at the Fairflex, and the LC Trick or Treat night. Also, Ministerial Association has shared informational flyers to their partners, and much, much more. Our group looks forward to continuing these efforts for the city and county through the spring and summer of 2020. However, to do our best job possible, we are asking for your support by providing discretionary funds up to $1,000. Our organization has been set up as a 501c3 to protect these funds. As the chair for this organization, I will provide you and the council with any regular or full accounting of how these funds are used. The funding would help us to implement planned information campaigns that include yard signs, banners, giveaways such as balloons, pencils, and so on, printing fees and supplies. Our committee sincerely appreciates your consideration in this matter, and is there anything more you need to help you decide, we'll be happy to provide it. We look forward to your decision, and we continue our mission. I'm out of breath. With the U.S. Census Bureau to count everyone once, only once, in the right place in Louisa. Thanks, James Polymark. I just want to brag about our committee for a minute. I mean, we have a small committee, but we have been working really hard to reach all the folks here in Lawrence County. I can go to say that because we've had people from the census want to know what we're doing. Because out of all the counties, we're the only county doing any work. So I really want to say that to you guys. We're really trying to reach these folks here and get them to know what census is. A lot of people don't know what census is. So we've been really out there pushing the information, talking to people, letting them know that we're going to be there to help them when time comes around March 12th table first, make sure we get those people counted. Any questions?
So what do the signs and the banners say? Are they just
Well,
names or
it's
like
something that
contact
our,
information or?
well, it's something that our committee would sit down and agree upon. You know, mostly it's just gonna tell people, you know, they're hiring, or, you know, they're let them know what sensitive information, how to get to that information online so they can read about it, or they can even contact us as a committee. So there'd be different information. It's something that we'd have to decide on as a group. And that's what we were trying to shoot for banners too. And Louisa, you know, I think his name's Blankenship. I don't know him personally, but I know he has some banners here that we were wanting to try to reach out to him and ask him to become a partner. But still, I'm sure there'll be some cost, but if we can get him as a partner, then those costs would lower, and we can get the word out like that also. Any other questions? Yes?
Am I right that mostly what your committee does is preparing the public for the census, so when it actually happens,
They'll be
they're
ready
more
to do
open
it.
to it?
That, what we're doing is educating, engaging, encouraging these folks to, you know, be counted when the census goes
Not
around.
be scared to not.
And not to be scared, right. And also, we're working with Art. We're working with Marty Moore. We're trying to set up a meeting just so we can talk to her staff. Because really, we won't need to speak to any of the members or patients that are with them. But those folks there will help our numbers raise tremendously, which will be a big help for us here in Lawrence County, in Louisa. So we're going to get a meeting with her. We're going to sit down,
Just make sure those people
educate
get
them, to
counted.
make sure that their staff knows how to do that when it comes time around, because I think they're getting ready to do the group census for, I think this month or next month. I know it's coming up soon. It's on the timeline for end of February, 1st of March. So we're trying to sit down and get with Marty and educate the staff, let them know what they got to do, so when that time comes, those people will get counted. And that will help our numbers and percent raise. Yes. Did I answer that?
Yes, and that's what I thought, but I wanted to make sure.
Well, that's all I have.
Where we're at in the process right now is still just getting ready to kick off.
Yeah, we're just trying to get everybody ready.
Yeah.
Right now, that's where we are. And just, right now, it's gonna be the groups. We wanna get the, like JJ Jordan, get all those counted, get the Art, all those folks counted. And then mostly after that, it's just gonna be marketing, videos, you know, whatever we can get out to say, hey, be ready. We're also gonna set up things for like the library, for people that don't have access to these computers or internet access, so they can come in. We're gonna also sit down with senior citizens, help them on a certain day for them to go in if they don't know how to do it. Because believe it or not, some folks, they don't know how to do that. So we're gonna be there, as our committee, we're gonna be there to help them do that. Like I said, our committee's working hard.
Yeah.
We have people way up in census want to know, hey, what are these guys doing? Because the other ones are not, and they want to know, you know, they want to feed off of our success. So I think we're doing a great job, and we just are here to see if you guys
Did
can.
you already present to the county?
Yes, I did do that.
Did they do it?
Yes, I did.
After they send out the forms or whatever and they get them back, then people go to houses.
Between March 12th and April 1st, what happens, they will actually let people do this online this year, or on the phone, and then, if they don't get that done between March 12th and April 1st, then yes, that's when people are gonna be coming knocking on the doors, you know, and that's what we had a good sit down with the senior citizens, because we want them to be comfortable and know that what to look for. We showed them the badges they had to look for, so they know that they're not being scammed or anything like that. We want to make them feel comfortable. We also told them that they could come there, and we'd sit down and help them do it. So that's what we're doing, you know, bringing these and educating, encouraging these folks to be counted, and letting them know how important it is for our community.
Is there a way to get a photo of the badge? That way when it does become time, I can put it on the police department's Facebook and
Yeah,
make people
most
compare it
certainly,
with the one.
most certainly, yeah. I can get that for
it's
you.
a good use of
I do not.
her.
When it comes time to do that, are these members the ones that would be doing that work, or would it be?
Yeah, it'd be all of us. It'd be all of us, yeah.
I didn't know if they would be hiring different people, or,
Well, I mean, no. Like, you mean when they do the census? Yeah, that's what we're doing right now. We're trying to push out to here in the community, letting
Hire
people
some.
know that we are hiring.
So
I've got a
you're
bunch
still
of signs I've got to put out.
Yeah.
And that's something I was gonna bring to your attention. There's some signs, I don't know how they are about putting up signs here in the city. I don't know if there's certain locations, but we do have those, and I think we're at 70% right now here in Lawrence County, but they're trying to shoot for 100. So that means there's 30% more people needed to work. It's
that's
good
what I was
money.
wondering.
It's 14, I think it's 14.50 something an hour, plus 58 cents a mile. for
My
this
mom
area.
did that for like 3 different censuses. She
Yeah.
mapped out Lawrence County.
It's really good money, and they are making a big push for hiring right now, so that's another thing that's in the works.
Can I make a recommendation that on the $1,000, instead, I know in the letter it said you're 501c3, but
Mhm.
for accounting purposes, instead of just writing a check to something that's kind of it's kind of, I don't know.
A
you know,
committee.
It could be gone, and then it's not gonna be there next 5 years from now or 10, whenever we do this again, that you just, if they approve the $1,000, you call us and get a purchase order number to purchase the product you're going to purchase up to $1,000, bill the city, and we'll pay the bill.
Yeah, I can take that to the committee, and I'm sure it's not an issue. I don't know how that works, but you can educate me on
That
how
way,
that
we've
goes.
always got proof of what we spent the money on.
Okay.
And the city's
Yeah.
just not supposed to donate. That's one
Okay.
thing.
Well, that's fine, and I'll tell you what they did, you know, with the county, they did give us, you know, the money. And what we told them is, once we're finished, whatever funds are not used, we would actually show what we used the money for, and then what's not used will be sent back to the city.
Then I guess it's,
It doesn't matter.
this $1,000 would go specifically toward advertising inside the city.
Motion. Yep, marketing. Mhm.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to that.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we
I'll second.
do the $1,000.
Thank you, appreciate that.
A motion by Mr. Brown, and second by Mr. Robinson. Any more questions or discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank y'all for.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Yes.
I know you guys are volunteering, right?
Yep, that's right.
And it's important. Even our road dollars, you know, the county's is based on miles. Ours is based on population. So road dollars that come back from gas tax
Yeah.
is based on that population number.
A lot of things with the city is based on population.
Well, I think, I'll just be honest with you, I think for what we've done so far, I think that, and even the census, folks are saying, we're gonna see the number raised here, you know. in
I'll tell you
percentage.
something, there's, like this motel up here, there's people actually live there all the time.
Yeah, the best way.
Are you saying are they, well, that's another thing, are they like considered like homeless, or are they actually live there as residential?
Well, I don't know.
Well,
I'm
they
paying-
rent it monthly, don't
Because
they?
see,
I'm paying a room for one of them.
See,
Yeah.
well, and that's another question really, I really didn't get to touch on. I mean, you know, homeless is another group. You know, they're considered a group because, you know, they're homeless. So I don't know who, you know, FICO or who works with those folks here. Does anyone have that information? Because we really want to get those people counted. I mean, they live here. Really, they don't, they do. You see what I mean? They want to count those folks.
Are you gonna put addresses on everybody's registration
Who,
when you sign people up?
well, I wouldn't be signing up, but
Whoever does.
yeah, whoever does, almost, yeah, they will.
Then I don't know where they're gonna put.
I don't know.
Like
That's
street
that's why I think we need to meet with FICO and see.
If they don't have an address, they can't even get an ID.
Well, that's something I'll have to touch base on, but I know they want to count those folks.
Yeah.
They do want to count those folks.
You can't, they
That's
can't
a
even
good
get an
question.
ID,
That's a
much
good
less a
question.
driver's license.
That's a
They
good
don't have
question.
a permanent address, and they have to prove it.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you for coming, James. And thank all your committee for the work. 2019-2020 budget adjustments, if you all remember, I go through this every year, but any government agency that operates on a budget, which we do, you lay out your budget at the beginning of the fiscal year, which is July 1, and as the year goes on, you know, some of it ends up being exactly right. Some places you end up being over, and some places you end up being under. Some places adjust theirs monthly or quarterly. I think the county does quarterly. We don't hardly ever have very many reasons to adjust, so we usually wait halfway through the budget, adjust it, and then look at it again at the end. So we prepared, the treasurer, or clerk here, has prepared for you proposed budget adjustments on this paper, and if you look in the left-hand column, it's changes, it's what changes would be made, and then what the new budget would be over on the right side. Kathy, you want to just tell them what those are?
The first three there are connected together. That's why they're kind of separated. I don't know if council knows, if we had informed you, but with this new insurance, the city has to pay the full amount each month. And so that has to go through our budget. And so then we have to get reimbursed from water and sewer for their employees. You know, they won't take two different checks or two different payments like that. And so this money's going through our budget. It's going out and then it's coming back in. It's going out and it's coming back in. And so the mayor and I discussed it, and we thought it'd be better just and we discussed it today with one of the auditors. We think it would be better just to have an account for water and sewer reimbursements, one going in and one going out, instead of jamming up miscellaneous. I've been trying to move everything out miscellaneous I can. It's jammed up with, if you remember accident reports, move those out. There's hardly anything in there now except this water and sewer stuff. And so that's what we was trying to do with the first two account numbers there. One is revenue, one is expenses. The reason one's $200,000, the revenue, and then the expenses is $100,000, is because we've already been paying half of the year out of other account numbers for this stuff. But when we pay for it from here to the end of the year, we're going to pay for it out of this number. Does that make sense? And then also today, the auditor was moving some of that with the audit adjustments for the end of June 2019, and he may move some more. We might have to do it again, I don't know. But that's what those first two numbers are. And then the third one, we're knocking it down, the revenue, $50,000, because that was water and sewer reimbursements before all this stuff started happening. So we don't need as much in that one. So those first three go together just to try to keep track of that money that's coming in from water and sewer and going out for water and sewer. So does that make sense to everybody? Okay, the next one is other materials and supplies. That was, help me, Mayor, number